it's not working. My mic is working. Hang on. What happened here? There we go. Okay. All right. Always technical difficulties. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Four Laps Down. I'm your host, Nathan. We're here with our co host, Daniel Ship, and our esteemed guest of the evening, Mr. Leighton Sibille. How are you, Leighton?
I'm good, Nathan. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
Man, we're very excited to have you here. I am good, and I'll be doing better if these technical difficulties avoid me. This is 2 straight weeks I've screwed the pooch here at the beginning of the show, but no matter. So our format for those of you watching from home, this is a live podcast. We will eventually turn this recording into a more traditional podcast available wherever it's sold. So let me hit the record button and we're on. So we're live here with Leighton Sibille. Now, you work with JD Motorsports, which is an Xfinity team. You field 4 full-time cars. So you guys are not a small team. You're quite a major presence in the Xfinity cars. And the reason why I am so excited to have you on today is because with your role on the PR side of things, um, you have a really interesting yet really important job in that you're kind of that front line. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're kind of that front line between the fans and the media and the team. So talk to me a little bit about your background. Introduce yourself to our viewers at home, and talk to me a little bit about how you got involved in the sport of NASCAR and your kind of your journey to where you are today.
Yeah, definitely. I got my start in the PR and really the racing world um, about 4 or 5 years ago in 2017 when I was helping out a driver in the K&N West series. Me being from California, the K&N West division of NASCAR was really our biggest series that we had out there racing. For the most part, week in and week out. I got my start with a driver by the name of Will Rogers. He went on to race in the ARCA series for Ken Schrader, and also in the Xfinity series. He had some starts with Brandon Brown a couple of years back. And really, when I first started, I was mainly just a fan. I've been a racing fan for quite some time now, and you know, I would love to go to these races, and I wanted to find out a way that I could get myself to be in a position to turn this really fandom, I guess you could say, into a career. And I found out, I don't really have many many technical I guess skill sets that involve working on a race car or building setups or anything like that. So I figured going into the marketing standpoint would be my best option. And here we are now. I've moved up to the Xfinity Series level with JD Motorsports with Gary Keller. That's our team, and I've been here now. This will be my third season with the team, and man, I'll tell you what, it's been quite the ride. But I really am enjoying where I'm at right now, and I love being able to do this. I mean, I really do enjoy what I do, and I really wouldn't trade it for much anything else.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, just to hear, you're a race fan like all of us, and we kind of see that as a little bit of a trend with the you guys who work full time in NASCAR is your race fans first and employees for these NASCAR teams kind of second. I know it doesn't really work that way, but it's kind of cool just to think that you love racing just like we do. So the PR side of things, I mean, it's always strange because I when I think of NASCAR teams, right, I think of okay, they build race cars, so you got guys that do that. You got drivers, you got team owners who run the teams and start the teams and have the investment, and then you've got your sponsors, right, who pay the bills. Um, but really, PR and marketing is kind of a the glue that holds everything together because without you guys, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like the teams would be in disarray. I mean, do you feel that your involvement from a PR side is really kind of the glue that holds everything together?
Well, I don't really want to toot my own horn in that regard, but
Please
I,
do.
I
Please
will
do.
say,
You are our guest. You can toot as loud as you want.
well, I will
That
say
came out a
yes.
little wrong. We might need to cut that part from the podcast about tooting as loud as you want. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, I have to say that the number one most important thing in any race team, I don't care if you're a big team, if you're a small team, whatever type of team you are, the number one, biggest thing that you have in your race team is the funding that you have, right? NASCAR racing is a very expensive sport, and it takes a lot of great people, one, to build your race cars. It also takes very expensive equipment to build the race cars. None of this would be possible if we didn't have great sponsors and partners, to fund the whole operation, right? So it's why the sponsorship and marketing side of the sport is so crucial to have within any organization, because ultimately building those relationships with those partners that you have, and keeping them happy, is ultimately the reason why we all have a job, really, at the end of the day. If we don't have partners, we're not allowed to race, right? It's just that simple. So I will say, even though the PR and the marketing side of things, like you said, we do kind of hide in the shadows a little bit. Um, the people that fill those roles do outstanding jobs, and I think that their work is right up there along with the mechanics. Racing's a team sport, right? You need all your different assets, from a personnel standpoint, and it's I would absolutely go and say that the marketing side of the sport, is just as important as the mechanical side, right? Absolutely.
So I like what you said there. I mean, specifically, hey, kind of shouted out your PR and marketing colleagues and said that they're really good at what they do. I would agree with that. I mean, I'm not a marketing whiz. I don't do it professionally, but obviously running this page and this podcast and trying to get the word out and get viewers and book guests and things like that. I feel like some of the things that I do for fun on this, you are much better than me at and do, and you get a paycheck in return. So I definitely can understand and appreciate what you're saying. What is your favorite aspect of what you do? Because obviously, you do many different things. You deal with, probably I'm sure you're involved with the social media team. I'm sure you're involved with the media. Bob Pockris and those guys. What out of everything that you do on a day-to-day basis, what's your favorite aspect of working as a PR director for a NASCAR team?
Well, I absolutely love helping our partners realize their goal of getting their name out there. Like I said before, those partners are so crucial to our sport and to our business model, that without them we wouldn't be able to do it. So when we're able to go and approach a new coming partner, or even one that's been with us for several years, getting to work with them and ultimately help them meet their goals of either one, attracting new partners, or two, uh, gaining a little bit more of brand recognition within the sport, within any of their advertising. That's wonderful to see. I personally, at within JD Motorsports with Gary Keller, I handle our social media along with my colleague Alex, and really, I'm also our in-house graphic design artist that we have. So from a personal standpoint, I love designing the race cars, and throwing all those colors out there, and showcasing that to our partners, and you know seeing their reaction from when we take a car, and I show them a mock-up of what it will look like to actually seeing the car in person as it gets wrapped and as it takes those first laps on track, man, that is awesome for me to see. It's great because it's something that I feel like I played a pretty big part in, and two, just to see the partners' reactions, man, they love it, and that just keeps me driven.
So
So
go
before
ahead.
we get in depth to the celebrity aspect, and we know what we were going to talk about. Well, we know that the Alvin Kamara thing came together pretty quickly, and you talked about being the graphic designer. How much time did you have to design the big squeezy graphic? Because that seemed like it had to be a really quick turnaround.
Yes.
So I want to clarify something because I was not aware. So you were the one who designed that wrap.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I
Yeah.
design most of our wraps. We have a few that are handled externally, but for the most part, yeah, I'm our in-house graphic design artist.
That's pretty awesome because I feel like I could probably hang with you for like when the 15 runs the all red paint scheme and that's it. I could probably handle that one. And actually, I can,
Yeah, we can. You can just hit that on paint, hit the red.
yeah, just fit fill area. But I gotta tell you, I was really impressed with that paint scheme. But I did not realize, I guess, that you were the one who painted the cars for JD Motorsports. So talk to us about that because now I'm curious because I like I like going in Photoshop and trying to like recreate paint schemes for iRacing, and I've done a couple and they look kind of shitty, and it kind of is what it is. I know a couple of guys who have gotten really really good at it. But talk to me about that. I mean, how did you become the guy, and what's it like seeing your art on the track every single week?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned iRacing. Really when I got my start, I was a hardcore sim racer myself, and I still sim race, to this day.
Well, I'm gonna look.
And
We're gonna get together on the track soon then.
Absolutely. Well, really from a graphic design standpoint, I started painting my own cars and iRacing, messing around with it, and eventually I started to really like it after you learn the softwares, right? And that's kind of where I got my start. I guess you could say I had a buddy of mine ask me, who was going to make his K&N West debut, in Max Tolman and Will Rogers. Really, they both had asked me to pretty much design him up an iRacing car to show to a sponsor and say, hey, this is what the car would look like if you sponsor me for this race. And that was the first time that I had done it, and thankfully their sponsors really liked it, really liked the work that I put out. And so that was really my first design on track. And really since that point on, it's all been partner driven. I've been doing this, designing cars, at least since the end of the 2017 season. And ever since I got to JD Motorsports, um, I've helped, push out some creative different cars to help differentiate our team. That's always known as the red team, as you can see behind me. Our team is known for having those red cars, and it's kind of a shock to some people to see when we don't have those red cars, when we do have a fully wrapped car. And so that's always fun, right? I love seeing the different colors out there, and making your designs as loud as you can, because ultimately I know that the fans love it. The fan in me always loved it, watching and seeing the different paint schemes and all like that for each race. And um, you know, it's really rewarding to see something that you created go from a computer screen essentially to print, and eventually being wrapped on a real race car. Man, there's nothing like it. It's very very rewarding.
Well, and I mean, and I can probably speak for Nate. I mean, the most memorable car right now that I can think of is the TikTok car. I mean, nobody can forget that car because it stands out more than anything. And I mean, that was something that,
I didn't even think
Ryan.
about this. So you designed the TikTok car.
No, you know what? That is one of the only cars that I have not
Ah,
done.
Okay, because
Okay.
I had
Yeah.
remembered somebody made it for their iRacing car, shared it on Twitter, and you guys
Yes.
picked it up. So I was gonna say I remember that
Ah,
car, but
okay.
okay,
Yeah.
so fair enough. But hey, listen, you could have designed the TikTok car if you wanted to. I'm sure.
Mhm. We'll
Yeah,
say, yeah, he could have.
that whole deal was awesome. A buddy of Ryan Vargas and myself really, a very, very talented graphic design artist by the name of Ryan Pastana. He was the guy that first showed that iRacing concept car on Twitter, and man, that post blew up. It went viral,
Mhm.
absolutely went viral to the point of TikTok themselves. They saw it and they loved it, and they had partnered with NASCAR, a little bit, but they were really looking to break into the sport. And man, that whole deal came together over quite a large period of time. But seeing that whole deal come together, especially for a driver like Ryan Vargas and in his first few starts that he ran for the team, man, that was awesome to see. And Ryan did a great job. Ryan Pastana, that is, did a great job designing that car.
So what of all the cars you've designed, on track, iRacing, K&N, Xfinity, what's your favorite one? Which one, if I say show me your greatest accomplishment as a car painter, which one are you showing me?
Man, that's so tough, right? I mean, every one that you do, you want it to be better than the last one, right? So I've got a few that really stick out to me. We had a sponsor in Contech that was based out of Spartanburg, and they broke into the sport with Ross Chastain originally and our team, but they were really made known last season with Jeffrey Earnhardt. So the Contech number 0 car comes to mind. We have a really loyal partner. Um, you know that's been with us for the last 5 years in KSDT CPA, which is an accounting firm based out of Miami, and I've done pretty much all of their cars. And we like to change it up every time that we do it. But Jeffrey raced that KSDT car last week in Homestead, and we'll be racing it again this week in Vegas. And I loved how that one turned out. But something about that Alvin Kamara car, that big squeezy car, man, that was cool. That was so cool to see in person. I absolutely loved how that turned out. Um, that that's got to be near the top of my list, if not the top of my list for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I'm trying to, just for the sake of doing it here, trying to get a picture of the Jeffrey Earnhardt car onto the screen here for the viewers at home. I think I did it. I think
Well,
I
and
learned how to do
yeah,
it.
well, did you get it?
Yeah, there you go. So what you're seeing on the screen now, if you're watching this from home, you'll see there in the bottom left corner that is the number 0 contact car for Jeffrey Earnhardt that he's talking about. And let's also try to get the big squeezy car on here because I would say is like my favorite one.
And it was unfortunate with that because I mean, it, he had that early race issue, and you didn't really get to see it as much, when him and Joe Gaffer are going at it and they're making their plan, their competition. That was supposed to be the battle between him and Antonio Williams, and it was unfortunate that you didn't get to see it more because I mean, like I said, it had to have come together really quick, but it came out really well.
Yeah, and you'll see there on your screen there in the corner now, it's the big squeezy car for Ryan Vargas. I mean, what a cool paint scheme. So what was the process like? Well, let me back up. Right before I ask you about the process about painting the car, I want to ask you about just that whole scenario, right? So I think I'm fairly familiar with how it started. Until it got to the behind the scenes part, I think a lot of people know, but I want to hear it from you. So walk me through how this came to be. That all of a sudden this top level Xfinity team, I would say, which in the big picture of NASCAR, I would say is kind of right smack in the middle, right? You're definitely not an unheard of presence, but you're also not Hendrick Motorsports, right? So how does this team, JD Motorsports with Gary Keller, come to have a sponsorship partnership overnight with Alvin Kamara, one of the biggest names in sports outside of NASCAR?
Yeah. So it all started off. We headed down to Daytona to start our season off. You know, we had a partner for Ryan Vargas and Swan Communications, and they had partnered for 4 races. You know, including the first race at Daytona, but heading into the second week, you know, when we go to the road course, Ryan didn't have any major partners on board for him. You know, essentially we were just going to run a blank red car that we as a team are known for, right? And so I kind of hinted at Ryan, you know, hey, it might be a long shot, but I know you have a pretty big following base on social media. I don't know, put a tweet out there, you know, see if there's anyone that might be interested in coming on board, you know, and really when he sent that out, I did not expect it to blow up as much as it did. You know, we had an outpouring of support, you know, from fans, from different companies, you know, all of this swirling around, you know, really a couple days before we are supposed to leave for the race. And so, you know, out of nowhere, he calls me up and he says, hey, you know, you're not going to believe this, but Alvin Kamara has reached out to me. And I'm going to be honest, I don't really watch a whole lot of football. I don't know much of any other sports other than racing and NASCAR. But you know, his name.
You said, who's that?
Well, no, his name sounded familiar to
He's
me.
the guy with the nose ring that plays for that black and gold team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, his name stuck out to me because I kept hearing about it. And then, you know, I did my research and okay, yeah, that's how I know him. He made all these touchdowns, you know, on Christmas Day, and was like a superstar, setting all these records in the NFL. And so I was like, wow, that's got to be pretty unheard of for an athlete of his stature. And I mean, it doesn't hurt, right, that he's got over 400,000 followers on Twitter and 1 million plus on Instagram, right? You know, for us to catch the attention of someone with that big of a follower base, man, it was just awesome to see. And so from that point, we got Ryan set up with a call between Alvin, you know, myself, Ryan Vargas, and Tony, who leads our marketing team at the race team. And pretty much we were just walking through some ideas that we had. Alvin had a great idea to promote the Big Squeezy brand, which is a chain of juice bars in the New Orleans area and really all throughout Louisiana. And you know, he had just started to be a pretty main partner in that whole operation, that he wanted to get the word out. And what better way to get the word out than putting your logo on a big screaming V8 motor in a NASCAR series, right? And so, you know, this is Tuesday, and he said he verbally committed over the phone discussion. It didn't take a whole lot of negotiations back and forth. You know, he was really easy to work with, and you know, from that point, it was all about making this thing turn into a reality. So I went to work, started going through some ideas that I had in my head of how to get their loud logo out there, you know, how to represent it nicely on a race car. And I started to draft up some different paint schemes throughout the day. Well, you know, they had some tweaks that they like to put in, and every time I would send them something different, they would want something else changed. So the paint scheme process was really the the longest part of the whole deal, right? I think by the time that I sent them the finished version was at midnight, that night. So I guess you could say Tuesday morning was when we finalized everything on the paint scheme. Um, and Originally he was a little skeptical of including that purple on there because their branding is mainly orange. But I told him, I said, man, you got to trust me on this. It's going to look great. It's going to look great. And sure enough, when he saw that thing, when they started to wrap it, man, that was so awesome. It was a really, really, really cool, I guess you could say, realization of a dream that he had. Um, and It worked out for us. I mean, we, from start to finish, from that first tweet to the time where we had a signed contract and a car that was ready to be wrapped, was about 36 hours, which in the in the grand scheme of things is unheard of,
Yeah, that's
especially at
Wow.
this level. Yeah. I mean, everyone worked so hard on everything, getting all the details lined up. Um, and I mean, even just the little stuff like getting shirts and hats made up, right? I mean, normally that takes about a week or so, to get all of this in place. And we're talking about Tuesday, now Wednesday, leading up to the race. Well, the trucks have to leave, Thursday night to get down to Daytona to be ready there, to be ready to load in. So we all had to work very long, very hard hours. But man, seeing that whole thing come together was just so rewarding. And like you mentioned, the unfortunate side of things was where we had that mechanical issue with Ryan's car into the race. But just to see it on track and just to see that come to life was so rewarding. And man, it was such a great experience.
I mean, just hearing you tell that story is neat, right? This is the side of the sport that we as fans don't get to see all that often, but it's there and it's real and it's vital to the success of the sport, And so, I mean, that's neat to be able to hear how quickly the turnaround was. And I want to talk a little bit more about Alvin Kamara, right? So here's a guy, you know, um, your words, not mine. You're not much of a sports fan outside of racing, right? You knew who he was, vaguely, but you knew who he was. But for most of, a large portion of America follows the NFL somewhat regularly. A lot. I would say you're more the exception than the rule when it comes to people in Alvin Kamara, at least as far as the NASCAR fan base is concerned. And for a guy like him, at the pinnacle of his career, one of the top performers in his sport, to cross over to something that is not even remotely related to what he does for a living, right? I mean, we hear the stories about what it's meant for NASCAR internationally and globally. That the fact that Michael Jordan is involved now, we saw what happened with a little bit of an influx in interest in professional soccer when LeBron James became a part owner of Liverpool, right? So these types of things have happened before, but outside of the Michael Jordan Denny Hamlin thing, so up until this year, we'll say, it's never really happened to NASCAR. You've not seen a lot of crossover. Now we have Michael Jordan, we have Alvin Kamara, we have Pitbull, and not only that, we've got Alvin Kamara telling other NFL players, if you want to go to a race, it's on me. I'll cover it. He's actively cheerleading for this sport because now he's invested, now he's involved. I mean, what do you think in the long term this is going to mean for the sport of NASCAR?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now where we are within the sport, I think we are absolutely living in a dream timeline. Like you say, we've got Michael Jordan, we've got Pitbull, we've got Alvin now involved with this, and it's great to see, right? NASCAR has put so many great initiatives to work in helping broaden our audience and open the sport up to many new viewers. Reading a little bit about Alvin and his story, he really got involved with NASCAR last season over a bunch of the Bubba Wallace ongoing stories that he had, the challenges that he faced last season. That was really his first kind of eye into NASCAR was through that. But once he got there, and once he went to his first race, watched his first race, he was hooked. And speaking with Alvin, I'm sorry, and speaking with Alvin, he has been a NASCAR fan ever since the time that he first got to experience it. And that's one of the things that he's been pushing, is that, a lot of people, they think of NASCAR and they think, okay, well, it's just cars going around in circles. Well, that's not true. That's, you ask any person who has gone to a race, and they will tell you it is a completely different game than sitting there and going in circles. It's just simply not that. Once people get to realize that, they're hooked, right? It's loud, it's exciting, it's fast, it's everything that's great about sports, just with cars involved, really. And so with him inviting some of the other NFL players in to watch, you mentioned the Antonio Williams connection, with Joe Graf. Getting more of these professional athletes and celebrities involved in racing is going to be great for our business, as a whole. The more star power that we have aligned with the sport, the more eyes we're going to have, the more partners are going to be wanting to join and sign up, to be a part of this. And man, it's an exciting time to be in the racing industry, and I think we're heading towards a really good place. And I'm honestly, I'm just excited. So it's been great. It's been really, really, really cool.
So, in considering all of this, I mean, I would agree with you. I mean, this time is certainly for us to hear from you. But I mean, if I could interject with my take on this real quick, I mean, I think, the biggest thing that's kept people from jumping in and becoming NASCAR fans is, I think it's hard to really appreciate it from the couch at home. I love sitting down and watching a NASCAR race. Not all of them are as exciting as the others. Daytona, very exciting. Talladega, exciting. Bristol, Martinsville, exciting, right? The Homestead this past weekend, good race, great ending. The middle, not all that much excitement from your couch. A buddy of mine was there, said it was phenomenal. Has been to many Cup races, has been to a Daytona 500. Said it was as good a race to see in person as any he's ever seen. But I think that getting people in the stands is important, and the only way to do that is to get the word out, to get people eyes and ears involved in what NASCAR's doing, what they're talking about, what they're saying, the product they're selling, the product they're putting on the track. The track closest to me is Kentucky Speedway, right? I am not happy that Kentucky lost their NASCAR weekend. However, from the standpoint of NASCAR's business model, I can understand it, because it was considered to be one of the lesser exciting races on the schedule. They're trying to branch out more road courses, so they can't have everything, right? So I get it, right? And I support NASCAR trying to get in front of a broader audience, getting exciting races on the schedule to get people hooked. But it can only tremendously help having people like Michael Jordan and Alvin Kamara and Antonio Williams involved. I mean, Pitbull, for God's sake. I mean, Mr. Worldwide's a team owner now. Who would have thought? I mean, seriously, I never would have put the two and two together. But here we sat with this celebrity involvement, these celebrity endorsements and ownerships and sponsorships. I mean, obviously, the first time this happened was when Brad Daugherty became involved. And obviously he's been a longtime Cup owner, and people remember him from back in his day. I mean, hell of a basketball player. Duke played at Duke, played at the NBA. I think it was Duke. Was it Duke or NC State? Ship, you're my guy. Chris Land, if you're watching, where did Brad Daugherty play basketball in college? I think it was Duke. He's watching. He'll tell me in the chat in a minute. But anyway, resetting for podcast setting. So we go back to years ago when Brad Daugherty got involved in the sport. Now we're seeing that in a much more publicized and much more prolific way, I guess you could say. I mean, I think what Alvin Kamara is doing is going to be successful, and that he went to UNC. Chris Land says UNC. Okay.
UNC, by the way.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Ship. So hey, there's Womack correcting me as well. So I think it's great what Alvin's doing. I welcome it. I love it. I want to see NASCAR take the plunge. I want to see NASCAR get very involved with other sports, right? Do things off the wall like the NFL this year. They broadcast a couple of games on Nickelodeon with like kid-friendly graphics, and the commentary was really broken down to where if a 5-year-old's watching the game and has never seen an NFL game before, they're explaining it, right? What a fantastic way to expand the interest of football to a younger audience, a younger generation, who is less likely, according to statistics, to be involved in football because fewer and fewer kids are playing football than they did 20 years ago at that age. But that being said, Womack is really upset that I said he went to Duke. Womack, sorry. But if NASCAR would do something like a partnership with the NFL or anything, right? And Fox, the Fox tie-in has been good because Fox has a lot of major contracts and a lot of major sports, and so you see a lot of crossover. I mean, I'm really enjoying the fact that halfway through the Daytona 500, I'm getting WWE pro wrestling commercials because I like pro wrestling, right? But at the same time, like, wouldn't it be cool to see a partnership with the NFL, with the MLB, NBA, to expand the outreach? They're doing a good job. I mean, Tua was the Grand Marshal for the Homestead race, right? So he gave off the command to start things. That kind of stuff I think that they really should keep doing even more of, and so I hope that they do that. Off my soapbox here for a second.
Well, Derek Carr is doing the Vegas one.
Come on, Derek Carr. Why don't they get Alex Smith, free
Just
agent
saying.
Alex Smith? Anyway, that was
I'm
from
just telling it.
That was from my boy Chris Land. He's a Raiders fan. So, so changing directions a little bit. We talked about Alvin Kamara. We've talked about the celebrity endorsement type thing. Let's talk about Leighton, right? We've talked a lot about NASCAR. We've talked a lot about JD Motorsports. Let's talk about Leighton. Tell us why. What made you initially a race fan? I mean, you told us a little bit about your background, but I mean, what is it that makes you love what you do because you're a race fan, first and foremost?
Yeah, so like I said, I grew up in Southern California. I wasn't really into many other sports, and I got to go to my first race at the Auto Club Speedway. And
Rest
really,
in peace.
yeah. Well, don't say that yet. Don't say that yet. But it started actually a little more local at the Orange Show Speedway and Irwindale Speedway, which those are two stops on the K&N West schedule, where Orange Show used to be, now isn't anymore. But at the local level, that's really where I got to see my first race. And man, once I got there and I really experienced everything, I loved it. After I saw my first race at Auto Club Speedway, I was hooked. I really was. And, I started tuning in, watching week in, week out, seeing what was going on. And then, I took that to, I guess you could say, the next level. I'm not sure. But I got pretty heavily involved in the sim racing side of things. Man, I don't care who you are, sitting down and playing iRacing, even if it's your first time or if it's your 1,000th time, it doesn't matter. Sitting there and pretending like you're driving a real race car, man, that's fun.
It's not pretend, it is real.
Yeah.
I remind my wife all the time.
Yeah, it's a simulator, it's not a game, right?
Right.
but yeah, I mean, that got me even more heavily involved, and seeing everything come together, like I said, getting my first big break, and getting that opportunity to work for a race team, man, that was just kind of unheard of for me, right? I was I was originally going to school in at California State University, San Bernardino, back home. And I got a call, and pretty much it was like, hey, I'm moving. I'm moving to Charlotte. I'm gonna go race a bunch more races next year. Do you want to come out and move? Pretty much be my roommate and also work for me. Max Tolman asked me that, and he raced a bunch of ARCA races and some truck and Xfinity races, and I said absolutely. So I dropped my school. I had a I had a full ride scholarship, and I kind of put that to the side. And I said, yeah, I'm all in. I'm going for it. Absolutely. Because, where I'm at in California, there's not many opportunities like that. And I knew I couldn't let one slip by. So, taking that leap of faith, trusting that everything was going to work out. That led me to where I'm at now. And, man, I wouldn't change it, the slightest, really, at all. I've had kind of an unorthodox entry into the sport, but man, it's been one hell of a ride getting to this point, and it's only up from here, right? So it's been really cool.
So first of all, for those of you watching from home, 4 Laps Down does endorse staying in school, but we also endorse dropping everything, moving to Charlotte, and going racing when you can. So kudos to you. What an incredible opportunity, but more importantly, what an incredible job of recognizing the uniqueness of that opportunity and then making it work, right? Because there are 999 ways that could have gone wrong, and maybe you could have ended up back in California trying to get back in school, but like
At least
you said
I
before,
tried, right?
years
Yeah.
later, here you are.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that. So you were roommates with Max. He was racing. You were working for him. Did you ever think, what am I doing? Or were you, because hearing you talk about it now, knowing what you know now, hindsight's 2020, it worked out, great move, great decision, great call. You're living your dream, right? What's there to be mad about? In the moment, though, did you ever look at it and think, what the hell am I doing?
Well, looking back on it, man, that was a really risky strategy, I guess you could say, right? Getting out here and really not knowing much of what's in the future, what it's got for you, right? It it was very risky, and I knew that heading into everything and making that decision. But ultimately, I loved the sport so much, and was so passionate about it that I knew going into it that I wouldn't have another opportunity like that in the future. Something like that. I mean, it's not every day a NASCAR driver calls you up and says, "Hey, I'm moving to Charlotte. Come live with me and come work for me." Right? I mean, that's just kind of unheard of. So I knew I had to take it, and that's a huge thanks to Max and a huge thanks to the whole Tolman family. Because at the time he was running in the ARCA series, and he had ambitions of making it to the Xfinity series, but he's not racing anymore. So I ultimately wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for that leap of faith, wasn't for the belief that so many different people had in me, and supporting me, and helping me make that I guess that transition in my life. I wouldn't really be where I'm at now. And I wouldn't take it for granted at all. Absolutely never. But yes, like you said, there were those times that there was some doubts. And it hasn't been an easy transition. It hasn't been an easy ride by no means, but I've met some great people out here. Some very good friends of mine, some very good mentors, and all like that have helped shape me as a person and also professionally. And I believe wholeheartedly that I made the right decision.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely worked out for you. I mean, you've hit the pinnacle. I mean, you're here live on Four Laps Down. I mean, that is the peak. It never gets better than this.
Yes.
Just ask our previous guests. You know, they've also. No, I'm kidding. What a story. I mean, that's the side of the sport that people don't see, but I think is the best side. You know, you guys that work for these race teams. I mean, you're race fans like us, yes, but you're also real people like us, and you have day jobs like us. They just happen to be with race cars. You know.
Yeah.
And with something. You know, I mean, I think. You know, how does the saying go? If you're passionate about what you do, you never work a day in your life. Something
Right.
like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you enjoy what you do, you don't work. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly right. You know, you know, it's good that you bring up that we all kind of have our own normal lives. Other than the fact that we are working with race cars, you know, all of my best friends that I have out here, they're race car drivers, you know, but they all live the same life. You know, it's kind of nuts to think that from a fan perspective, right? You know, just seeing these superstars on TV and idolizing them and what they do. But you know, ultimately, everyone lives their own life, and you know, it's just a matter of what you make of it. It's been such a great opportunity and such a great ride that I've been a part of. So it's been really, really, really cool.
So you seem very grateful for the opportunities you've had and where your career's gone, and I love to hear that, man. I respect the hell out of that. But you've got to have more ambition, right? So where do you want to go from here? I mean, what are some of your goals? I mean, obviously it could be you want to be PR director for Hendrick Motorsports or for NASCAR as a whole. I mean, I don't know what is it. Where does Leighton see himself in 5 years?
Well, you know, I don't want to take away from any of the people who I have worked for or you know, any of the great teams that I've been a part of by no means, but you know, obviously everyone is looking to better themselves and put themselves in the next big opportunity that they see, and whether that's with one of those bigger teams, like you say, you know, that would be awesome. But at the same time, seeing this small team, and you know, you said that we weren't a small team. We're not. We have 4 cars, right? But as far as people, we only have about 25 ish total for 4 cars. And you know, you look at Hendrick Motorsports or Penske or Joe Gibbs, and they have 200 plus, you know, working on that, working all on the same level. So seeing it from this smaller team's perspective, you know, our organization, we've got people that work just as hard, if not harder, than those at the bigger teams. And it's been such a great, you know, such a great opportunity to see that and see how everyone works together. You know, I honestly really like being a part of one of these quote unquote smaller teams. Everyone's more treated like family there. You know, I guess you could say we're all generally in a better mood because we're all having fun and we're enjoying ourselves and we're giving it all we can. So I don't know where I see myself in 5 years. You know, whether it's continuing on with JD Motorsports and Johnny Davis or moving to another team. I don't know where I will be. But I certainly hope that I'm still involved within the sport. And I really hope that I don't have any career paths that take me other avenues or anything like that. Because I really do enjoy what I do.
So no aspirations. What I was, I guess, hoping I'd hear you say is I really want to race. I want to go fast.
Well, I mean, I guess you got to be a little realistic, right? You know, I'd love to, but man, I know, especially seeing it from the business side of things, I know what that takes, and you know, not saying that it could never happen. You know, I've got some buddies of mine that are they're talking about putting me in a Legends car here sometime here soon, but I don't know. I mean, I just want to be involved some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Well, almost 7 years to the day from his first ever Legends car race, William Byron won at Daytona in a Cup car. So it could be done. Hey, and you know what? You say keep it realistic, but I'm not going to lie to you about this. I sent a text message just this week, and it was dead serious, and it said, and I quote, "How do I get a fire suit and get to tear windshields at the Bristol Dirt Race with your pit crew?" I'm not going to say who it was to, but it was a real text, and I was serious, and I think the guy thought I was joking because he responded with LOL. So you know who you are if you're watching. Give me a fire suit, 48 chest, 60. Anyway, I can send you my measurements. But I think that's awesome. I mean, if you ever do get into a Legends car, give me a call. I'm in for a 4 laps down sticker on the side.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be the guy that pays the light bill at the race shop. But I'll pay for a sticker on the side, just to keep things going. But I think that's cool. I really like hearing, people who don't necessarily have a driver background but are around racing. And then, like a friend of our show, Jamarcus Morgan, he worked for Rick Ware Racing, and he was on the show a couple weeks ago, and he's kind of doing the same thing. He's never came up driving. I mean, he does photography and social media for Rick Ware, and he's trying to get some seat time just to see if it's a thing, man. Because you're around it, at some point you got to scratch that itch,
Oh man.
And I have never gone to one of those driving experience type things because I know it will convince me to somehow find a way to put together enough money to do something stupid and go buy a damn race car. And I haven't yet decided if getting a divorce would be worth it. It's still up in the air, but that would be certainly on the table if that happens. So I'm hoping that my get out of jail card is that one of my kids wants to race, and I somehow just happen to have bought 2 race cars, and we end up racing together, because that'd be cool. But so talk to me about racing Legends cars. I mean, what's your, I guess, if that's something that you were going to do, I mean, what's got you? Because there's a lot of ways you could kind of get seat time, right? So talk to me about Legends cars. I mean, what's the appeal?
Well, I really don't want to put the carriage in front of the horse, but man, I've got a bunch of good buddies of mine that grew up racing Legends cars, and whether it's out west, at the Bull Ring in Las Vegas, or if it's here running Charlotte Motor Speedway Summer Shootout, and I've heard everyone say that those cars are very fun to drive. They're very difficult to drive quickly. Finally, a good buddy of mine, Zane Smith, and Riley Herbst, they told me, you know what? I think this is the year that we're gonna see what you can actually do. And they've put it out there. I don't know when. I have to see when the schedules all align and all like that. But they told me whenever I'm ready, if I want to, they'll help me get in a car, to do something, whether it's a one-off or whether it's multiple, I don't know. But it's always been something that I'd like to do. Obviously with the sim racing background, right? I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't have those aspirations,
right,
in some way, shape, or form. So I'm ready. Whatever it takes, right? That you can just add that to the list. PR guy, iRacer, and I don't know, Legends car guy.
car painter, don't forget that one. That's
don't forget that, right? Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It'd be pretty neat. I'd look forward to it, but then I got to think about, like you said, the suit, the helmet, the Hans. I mean, we're talking a lot of expense there, and I don't know. We'll see if it ever happens or not.
What you need to do is you need to kind of size up some of these very successful pro drivers who are about the same size as you. Just become real good friends and be like, listen, can I just borrow, for a weekend, borrow a fire suit, Hans device,
Yeah, I mean, BJ McLeod, he raced for us a bunch the past 2 years, and I don't know if he'd let me borrow a suit or anything like that, but hey, you never know, right? I do know for a fact that I fit in his seat well, because I did get the urge to climb in one day when I was messing around with some of the guys at the shop. So BJ, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but I did sit in your seat there. Once. So, hey, I mean, you never know, right?
The question
Especially, it's a lot different than getting in your passenger car. You can't move the seat back and forth, so at least you ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah. I looked like a complete idiot, but it was pretty funny. So that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like you see them on TV and they just. It's kind of like, okay, so I never actually played competitive football when I was a kid, but it's still to this day when I see NFL players just grab the helmet and just pull it off, I'm like, there's no way that doesn't like grab an ear or something and hurt, because I'm thinking like my buddies, when they played Pee Wee, I'd put on one of their helmets and it's like you're stretching it out by the ears and like pulling it down, and then it's like you see these guys just out of the car so fast. I mean, especially and you really get a grip for how fast these guys can get out of the car when A, their car's on fire, or B, they're real mad because they got turned backwards and sideways on the last corner and they're ready to fist fight on pit road. Clint Boyer, I'm talking to you if you're watching. Clint, I mean, listen, the Duke boys don't get out of their car anywhere close to as fast as Clint Boyer gets out of his, so it's pretty amazing. But I am certain that if I tried to climb in or out of a NASCAR that quickly, it would be a hilarious fail of epic proportions, probably a viral TikTok. So I don't know. But I don't know where Ship went, but we lost him. So thanks again for being on the show. I know that this is you're probably squeezing this in. Last week our guest is a sponsor. He's a little less busy with this, but he runs a business full time, and he managed to find time in between Call of Duty matches to sit down with us. But I know, your day-to-day involvement is so busy. I can appreciate, you setting aside time to hang out with us, and you've been gracious, and we appreciate that. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about, anything that you'd like. Is there, whoa, hang on a second.
Now we really lost him.
Yeah, we really lost him. Let's see here. We'll just turn this off. There we go. So I want to give you an opportunity to talk about anything else. If there's anything going on that you want to tell the viewers at home. I mean, are there any personal projects, charities, causes, anything that you'd like to make sure that people at home are aware of?
Well, from a personal standpoint, I don't really have much other than, my duties at the race team. I really don't have anything, I guess you could say, exciting going on other than the fact that I'm around 20 race cars a day or something like that. I don't know. but I mean, something I will say is that, when you're watching a race and you're seeing the cars go on track and you're seeing all the different sponsors, all the different paint schemes, all the different, aspects of everything that goes on, really pay attention to everything that you see out there on the racetrack, because I promise you, behind every car out there, there is a team of many individuals out there that help make that happen. Whether it's the team owner, whether it's the crew or the marketing, agencies or individuals that helped, put those deals together in order to, make that car hit the track. Pay attention to that. And once you start to dive into all of the little kind of unknown aspects of the sport, it really helps you appreciate everything more. And I know, at least for me, when I firsthand started to experience all of this, it helped me become even more of a fan. Because what we've got going on here is really something that's awesome. It's very cool to be a part of. It's very cool to watch. It's very cool to have, all the fans out there watching as well. And the more you start to learn about how this sport works, how everything really happens, the more you'll get to appreciate everything.
Well, that's awesome to hear you say about that. I love the fact that you're giving credit to the massive amounts of people who, are behind the teams. I mean, everyone talks about the drivers, but I find it funny. So I'm you know, I'll say friends, acquaintances with several guys who work on teams and know some of these drivers, and just the way that they talk about these drivers. Some of them carry themselves with that whole larger than life type persona, but a lot of them don't. You know, majority of them, and especially at the Xfinity and the trucks levels, you know, they're part of the team. They're a coworker, they're a colleague, they're a friend, and it's just, you know, men and women hanging out, doing what they love to do, and being really good at it. And I think it's interesting and frankly great that you are so, you know, what's the right word here, PR guy, emphasizing, putting emphasis on.
Yeah.
Help me speak English. I don't know. Come on, journalism major. Let's go. What do you got for
I was
me?
a broadcasting major. Don't get that twisted.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Not journalism.
Yeah. So,
emphatic. No.
I love the fact that you are so keen on highlighting the hard work of the individuals behind the car, not just the person behind the steering wheel, because it's easy to get caught up, the drivers and everything. And, you know, some of these guys on these pit crews are doing triple duty this weekend. I mean, they're doing a truck race. They're doing, you know, I always wondered why the big teams like Hendrick, you know, and Gibbs weren't multiple cars in every series. They could certainly afford it, you know, but now I know why, because they really kind of are, you know, because
Right.
like, you know, the Stewart Haas guys, they, you know, they pit crew for the 98 in the Xfinity, and they rotate that, and then you've got Gibbs pit crews who come down, and there's 3 or 4 cars at Xfinity that they're pit crewing for, and then you've got even some of the KBM guys, you know, that you're seeing some crossover there. So it's, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense that that they don't, but I just think it's awesome. It's not just the driver, it's not just the pit crew, it's not just the crew chiefs. These are the public, what the public sees a lot, but there's just so much more that goes into it. So, Ship, you know, you're a broadcasting major. Do you have any broadcasting major type questions for Mr. Sibille?
Well, I've just been listening. I mean, you guys have been going back and forth. I mean, so we'll start with a hard hitting question because I saw it on your Facebook earlier. You know Cookout's better than In-N-Out, right? Do we know this?
No.
Correct?
No,
Yes.
that is absolutely
Yes.
wrong.
No, we're not doing this. I'm telling you.
I'm sorry.
I've
Hey,
tried
I'm from
In-N-Out.
California, right? So In and Out till I die. That is the best burger you will ever eat. I don't care. I don't care. I'm sorry. I love my Cookout now, right? I love my
I'm
Cookout,
just-
but In and Out, you cannot top it. You cannot. I don't care. I don't care.
You took that hard. Look at that. That was good.
You said hard hitting question, and you about turned this into a controversy the size of like a Jerry Springer episode.
There was. I mean, when I went to Vegas, I had it. It was not. I don't know. I'm not trying to be a dick. I don't know. I'm so used to my Cajun fries and my milkshake. I can't get past it.
I guess it's what you grow up with, right? Because like when I came out here, everyone was talking about Bojangles. Everyone was talking about Cookout. It's like, yeah, like they're okay, but it's not like it's the greatest thing on the face of the earth, right? But you know, likewise, when I go to the team, every time we go out west, I say I start talking about In-N-Out every time. And every time I say something about it, you've got all these guys, you know, from different parts of the country saying, no, it's just normal burger. But I guess it is really what you grow up with.
So I have a question for you, Mr. Sibille.
Well, I think it's cool.
Oh, well, sorry, I didn't realize you were going to follow up with that. Go ahead, Chip.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, continue. I'll let you go.
Have you ever had Skyline chili?
No, but I've seen it on our way to Kentucky. I've seen it near the Cincinnati area, I think, right?
Correct. Yep.
I've seen it, and I'm like, you know, every time we go to Kentucky, it's so hot. I'm like, man, why is there even a chili restaurant? And why would you want to have it when it's so hot outside, right? And I just
So it's
I've had no
deceiving.
desire.
It's deceiving. So when you go to Texas and you order a bowl of chili, right? It's like a bowl
Yeah.
of meat
Yeah,
with some sauce. That ain't Skyline. It's more of a sauce, okay? And you eat it on spaghetti and hot dogs. You make a chili dog out of it with Cincinnati style chili.
Okay.
It's a cheese coney. If you're ever passing through or get an opportunity to go to eat Skyline, do it and then let me know how it goes because it's heavenly.
I'll
But-
tell you what. If I don't know if what our plans are, driving or flying to Mid Ohio, but if we are driving, I will make it a point. Well, actually, I don't know if it's a good idea or not with a van, a bunch of team guys. But I'll try my best. We'll just say that. I'll try.
Yeah.
My
What?
best.
So what week is Mid Ohio? When is that?
Oh man, you got me caught off guard now.
Oh, here,
This is
I'm
bad.
gonna Google it.
I
Here,
should
got
know,
it.
right? I want to say it's in May. I really want to say it's in May.
June 4th and 5th.
June 4th. Okay, so they moved it back a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
June 4th and 5th. Okay, so Mid Ohio is in Morrow County. Okay, so let's just take a look and see how. So, with you being, yeah. So, oh, I forgot it's that. Okay, all right. So it's that far north of Columbus. So you're not going to get Skyline Chili close to the track. It doesn't go quite that far north there. I think there are.
Just bring it to him. Just bring it to him.
I don't eat it to go. Listen, there's a Skyline Chili 3 minutes. There. Okay, so I work 5 minutes from where I live, and there's a Skyline Chili in the middle, right? 2 minutes from wherever I am. I won't get it to go because in the 2 minutes from leaving the restaurant to leaving your house, the cheese melts in a way that changes the texture. Skyline is something you have to go and sit down and eat. And by the way, as much hot sauce as they'll give you. It's just a vessel for hot sauce. Is really
That's
all
awesome.
it is.
That's
Texas
awesome.
Pete.
So listen, if you hear that you're driving to Mid Ohio, I will find a Skyline Chili for you that's en route.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I'm betting that you probably would end up coming north. Yeah, because you're coming from Charlotte. So you would come up and you would definitely pass through Columbus, and you'll definitely get Skyline in Columbus.
Yep.
But it's a Cincinnati thing. So there's a couple in Cincinnati. There's a bunch in
Okay.
Cincinnati. They go down as far south as like Lexington, Louisville, Columbus,
Yep.
Indianapolis. There might be one or two in Cleveland, but they're not going to be any in between Columbus and Cleveland, like where Mansfield and Mid Ohio is. And then there's like 6 of them in like Tampa, because somebody that
Wow.
retired down there from Ohio's got a lot of snowbirds that retire.
That's like Wawa.
Yes,
That's like-
exactly.
that's-
Yes,
Wawa.
exactly like
Yep.
Wawa.
So
Yes.
so there's a couple in Tampa because somebody went down there and decided we need Skyline Chili, so they have some down there. I think there's one in Bradenton. I think there's one in. There might be one in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know.
Man, you really know about this. Huh?
Listen, I'm
Yeah,
passionate
it's
about.
really creepy, right? It's
no,
really
listen,
weird.
Okay, hold on. You're passionate
Passionate.
about In-N-Out.
Yeah.
I'm sharing my food that I'm passionate about. I'm not.
There you go.
I'm not sitting here
Yeah,
talking
but
about.
he's not going to tell you every In-N-Out burger that's in California along an
Yeah.
I-5 or
That'd be
Listen.
tough.
Listen, I can't help that he's not as passionate as I am.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
saying, bro. You've got
Yeah.
a map with pin dots of where they
No,
are.
I'm just knowledgeable.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, if I do come across one, and we are on our way to the track, I will take a picture of me and Vargas in front of one. And
There you go.
I say
A new
we try to
tweet.
get
There's
Vargas.
a new tweet.
I say we try to get Vargas in a Skyline car.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there we go. Hey, now you're thinking like a marketing guy, right?
And I don't even work for Skyline. Promise, hand
There
to
you
God,
go,
never
there
took a
you go.
paycheck from him. But it would be great if we still went to Kentucky and
Yeah.
had a Skyline car. Maybe he needs a sponsor from Mid Ohio. I don't know. Who
Yeah.
knows? But
Hey, we're always open, right?
All right,
yeah.
so before we wrap it up, whose door panel is that? Because I know there's multiple fours. Whose door panel is that?
So that was from Jesse Little from Daytona,
okay.
the road course, last year. He says he lost brakes going into one. I don't know if he. I don't know if
It's
he
normally
lost
how it
brakes
happens.
Me too.
or if he just didn't like the guy in front of him. But
Yeah.
it's got a pretty decent chunk taken out of it.
Yeah.
And,
It is.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice centerpiece. I mean it hangs above my sim rig.
Oh, look at it.
There.
Oh, look at all this die
Look at
cast.
those. Look at
That's where I take my
diecast.
inspiration from down there, right?
There you go.
Oh, beautiful.
But yeah,
There you
so
go.
it hangs above the sim rig. Yeah, it's not a bad piece to have, I guess you could say.
So the LS on the other side, is that your logo, your design logo?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, Leighton, I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, giving us some insight to your world and to your background in NASCAR. Give us your final thought of the evening.
Man, final thought. Follow us. TeamJDMotorsports.com is our website. Our usernames across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is JD Motorsports 01. And watch the races, right? Watch for them red cars. Hopefully they're not always red,
Well, the Zero car, Earnhardt's car's got some good sponsorship this year. He's probably not gonna be red too much.
He shouldn't be.
A lot of green.
Yeah.
A lot of green.
Well, the cool thing is Colby. His family I work with in law enforcement, so they support him. Yeah. His, I don't know if it's aunt, but out here in Laurinburg, Scotland County, they're big.
No way.
Their family. Yeah. So
awesome.
they track him a lot, and we talk about it a lot. And like when we do our e-racing league, when we run Xfinity, one of the guys will always drive Colby's car because he's family. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah. So I was talking to her about it earlier today. I said, well, we got them on. I'll throw it out there that you're kin to him somehow. So I figured I would. But yeah, she watches it. They started watching it more this year. Getting into it now that her husband's been big in the sim rig stuff and e-racing, and so they started watching the races, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there's Colby," because they saw Colby lead some laps at Homestead, and then he didn't pit, and yeah.
Well, Leighton, was that your call to stay out?
No, it wasn't. I've spotted before. I've never crew chiefed.
So I'm interested because I think being a
gotta ask,
would be the coolest fucking thing of all time.
Yeah.
Like period. So
it's gonna be nerve wracking, though, man. I'm telling you.
I'm in a iRacing league that runs cup cars, and I'm one of the lower I ratings in the league.
Yeah.
So I tend to be running in the back, and I always get taken out because we have idiots that drive in that league. That being said, I love that league. I sponsor that league as part of 4 Laps Down. But when I get wrecked out, we have teams or whatever, and I really enjoy going in and spotting for people.
Yeah.
And the first time I did it was earlier this year. I got wiped out like 10 to go at Daytona. We're in cup cars. We run like 50% cup races, so we were running 250 miles. There's like 10 to go, and I jump up top, and I'm spotting for my teammate, and he went from 4th to 1st and then won the race, and I spotted for him and I asked him after this, like, all right, I've never done that before, but I've always wanted to. How'd I do? He goes, I'd have thought you did it every week. I said, no, don't. I said, Charles, don't bullshit me. Because he's the type of guy where he'll mess with me a little bit. He goes, no, really. Like, I didn't have to look in my mirror. I could just drive. Because on iRacing, a lot of times you're spotting for yourself. You're checking the sides. And like I said, he's like, I just drove, man. And they were right where you said they were. And it was great. So it's like, I feel like I did good. But enough about me. Who'd you spot for?
So funny you say that. Oh man, that's just so awesome. So I like yourself, I thought, spotting an iRacing would be cool. So I did it. And, we were racing at Irwindale, with some late models, and, a guy that I would always race with, Sean Woodside, he actually was the, 1999 champion of the K&N West Series. Well, he didn't have a spotter, and so he was like, "Hey, I know you race with me on iRacing a lot, and I know you like to spot on there. How about you come and spot my late model?" So I said, "Okay." So I went out there, and we were fast, man. We were so fast. Like, I mean, I knew he was good, but I didn't know that he'd be this good, right? And so funny. Like I give Ryan Vargas, I give him so much crap about this because he was the class of the field that night. Vargas was, and he was dominating this in a 50 lap feature. He probably led 45 of the laps. And we have a really late caution, the green white checker, and we restart second and he restarted first. So as we were coming to the green, I called green before it was green. And
Classic spotter move.
Go.
I call green before we're going green, and man, if I don't tell you that we were leading this thing going into one and they didn't call it on us and we won that race, oh my gosh, it was awesome.
How bad? Okay,
Awesome.
but how bad did Woodside jump the start?
It wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. He had maybe a fender on him, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. That's all we needed.
Yeah.
Door quarter clear. We're digging, boys. Go to the front. Let's do this. And that was awesome.
So
so I did that, right? So I did that race. And I love giving Ryan crap about that because you know he deserves it, right? But you know, heading into the road courses, when we go to a road course race, you know, there's 4, 5, sometimes even 6 different spotters per car at the road course events, and we've got 4 cars. You know, so I I went to Road America 2 years ago with Garrett Smithley, and you know, I was told, hey, don't worry about the social media stuff during this race. You're going to be up top in one of these corners. You're going to be spotting our car. Like, all right, cool. This will be
Here's
fun.
a headset.
And, you know, yeah, so
this button to talk.
So yeah.
Hit this one right here.
So, you know, we're having a decent day and, you know, we're running like 15th, 16th or so. And it's like, all right, well, this will be cool. Then I hear, all right, we're staying out at the end of stage 2, coming to the stage end. Everyone else is pitted and we're lining up. I think we were 3rd. And I was in turn 1 at Road America, that long sweeping right-hander. And you can't see much, right? So like restarts are tricky there, spotting at least. And we're pretty much leading. I mean, we're 3rd place going into 1 with Chase Briscoe trying to pass us, Garrett blocking before he even gets to me, right? So he's spotting himself and he goes to block him. Well, Briscoe's in the grass passing us. And I'm like, 3 wide. Oh my gosh, hold on to it. And all the guys back down in the pits are laughing and they will never let this go. Because they said that my voice jumped up about 20 octaves. So it was pretty hectic. But I said, man, I am not gonna be the reason why we get wrecked. Because I'll never live it down, right? I will never live this down.
You always got to blame it on Briscoe. I mean, hell, if he's passing you in the grass, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, man. Yeah, so I'll spot for us, you know, for whoever at the road courses. Last year, it was Jesse. You know, the year before it was Garrett. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun, but you got to be on your game. Absolutely got to be on your game.
Well, if you need one at Mid-Ohio, you know how to get a hold of me.
Okay, all right. I might hold you to that one, actually. I might.
Okay, hold on. Shep, why are you doing that?
This is how we do it.
I have a
Hopefully we
feeling
don't go, hey.
You're going to be in turn 6 as you open up another bush and they've already driven by you. And then you look up and go, oh, hey.
Oh, outside.
Yeah, you're clear. Go ahead.
Oh,
out, half
yeah.
back. No, he's
My
on
bad.
you. He's on you.
Yeah. Hey, if you are spotting
you're good, bud.
If you are spotting for us, hopefully we don't go 4 laps down, right?
There you go.
So there's a story.
Yeah.
I have a story off air, so hang out once we go off air. A quick story.
I was waiting for this.
I have a quick
That's
story
awesome.
when we go off air, but Well, listen, Leighton, it's been such a great time having you here tonight, talking to you about. I mean, I didn't realize how involved you were in all these different things. I mean, you're a car painter, you're an aspiring Legends champion, you are a part-time spotter, full-time sim racer, and and on top of that, you find time to do PR for JD Motorsports and run social media and all that. So it's been really awesome just hearing your story and your background and your involvement in the sport. So thanks for coming on. Definitely, lucky to have folks like you from real NASCAR teams who are willing to indulge us and come hang out with us. I mean, we're just a couple of race fans. I'm sitting in my basement, right, talking racing. Trying to make Dale Sr. proud. I know he can't really see that, but just trying to make Dale Sr. proud, right, one day at a time. And just thanks for coming on. I'll give my final thought of the evening, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Ship for the sign off. But I feel very blessed and fortunate that in 4 short weeks, NASCAR fans and NASCAR teams alike have embraced 4 laps down. We're 4 weeks into to our live podcast here, and the feedback and the love that we've seen from folks like yourself, Leighton, and guys from different NASCAR teams and NASCAR fans has just been tremendous. We have so much fun doing this. We're just super grateful to everyone who makes it happen. Our fans, our viewers. We don't have sponsors. We don't have, we're looking for sponsors, but I'm not going to plug that right now. I mean, but we don't have sponsors. We just do this because it's fun. And you could write us off as, it's just some guys in their basement that want me to talk NASCAR, but instead you chose, of all the things you could be filling your time with tonight, of which there are many, you chose to come hang out with us. And same to the viewers at home. I mean, there's a lot of stupid shit you could be watching online. I mean, a lot. Trust me, a lot. I'm online a lot.
You could get stuck in a TikTok Twilight Zone, bro.
Yeah.
You start scrolling, and it's 3.5 hours later.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. There are some incredibly talented musicians on TikTok, and I find myself spending more time than I need to watching people. The new thing with the whole talk boxes and doing Daft Punk covers, I love. Obsessed with it. But anyway, moving on. So thank you to our viewers, to Leighton, to the NASCAR teams who support us, and to our future sponsors. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Ship here as we sign off for the evening.
So my final thought, I mean, it's obvious that, don't take what people do on a website as the end-all be-all. We obviously see that not only was Chris Womack a car chief, but I mean, he's doing podcasts. Not only was Marcus Morgan doing social media, but he's Facebooking. He's apparently being Bubba Wallace's stunt double. He wants to drive as well. You've got Jonathan, with his promotions, not only running a flower shop and stuff like that. And tonight, with Leighton, we're seeing the advancement in the world that we've come from. Today, we're back in the day to get a sponsorship. You were making a phone call and setting up a meeting, where now today it's 40 characters or less. And I think tonight should be really. I think tonight went really well, and I look forward to many more journeys with my co-host here, because I'm sure it's going to get better.
Well, with that being said, Leighton, thanks for being here. Like I said, hang out. I got an offline story for you. And folks, we'll be back next week, and we'll be making an announcement later this week on who our guest is next week. We're still ironing down some dates with a couple folks, and we will be back 8:30 live Wednesday nights, 8:30 on the East Coast here on 4 Laps Down. Take care of yourself and others, and we'll see you next week.
Cool. Thank you, guys.